like Pampered Chef or whatever. I just knew that like I did not want to go party, and I did not want my friends to all think that I was just gonna like sell them something, you know, like that really grossed me out. So I prayed a lot about it, and I went to a Super Saturday as a customer. Remember to invite to Super Saturdays. I went as a customer thinking that I was just gonna do a super fun workout with everybody because that's all I really cared about. And although I was still praying about the opportunity. And I watched Lindsay Stay, who is my coach's upline, speak, and she really spoke to my heart. And she was a 7-star diamond at the time. Now she's a superstar diamond. But I just remember thinking to myself, you know what? Like, if God can use her, why can't he use me? Like, if this is what I'm supposed to do, I know that he's going to use me, and I'm going to do this. And if I'm going to go for this, I'm going to go all in. So I still prayed for 2 more weeks, and it was like everything I saw all of a sudden became like Beachbody, like everything, you know. And I was like, okay, all right, I got you. I feel you. Like, I'm supposed to do this. So I don't really believe in like being a toe dipper. Like, just for my personality, it is like, go all in. So I went all in, and people had seen me be a product of the product. So I had like, again, I worked at a church in front of 1,000 people. I had lost 20 pounds. And I eventually went on to lose 56 pounds. So they were watching this, and I had a list of people that were like ready to dive in before I was even a coach. And I had a choice to either give that list to my coach or to become a coach and mentor them myself and to pour into them and love on them. And I decided to do that. So in 24 days, I became a diamond coach, and I just ran. I just went for it. And 6 months later, I was a 2-star. And then I think like 7 months later, I was a 7-star diamond, and then it just kind of went so on. And it sounds like an easy journey when I say it like that, and it wasn't, you guys. It was really freaking hard. There was lots of ups and downs, and a lot of hurt, a lot of pain, a lot of getting very uncomfortable at times, and yet the good has always outweighed the bad. And I don't doubt for 1 second that this was not the plan that God had for me and my family. 6 months in, I was able to retire from my full-time 50-hour-a-week plus job outside the home with a 1-year-old, and I was able to do this full-time. And it has been such a blessing, because on days like today, we had a huge product launch. As you guys know, yesterday was great. Today was even better. And it was one of those times where I could be there and be with my sick baby. And when he was sleeping, I could work. And it was a huge blessing. So anyway, I say that all though to everybody's journey. And I knew I had a big market. But I will say that with a large market, I didn't sit back. I really, really, really took advantage of it. I knew that I needed to pour into people. I needed to build trust. I needed to build relationships. I needed to not only do that, but I also needed to open up a cold market, because I knew that warm market is there and it's amazing, but I also needed to continue to grow my business because I was in this for the long haul. And so I've done that with my like page. I'm actually just now getting into Instagram, which I know sounds kind of funny, but I have really, for me, I kind of needed to just really own like Facebook and my like page before I moved on to something else, and not even moved on, but just added something else in, I guess is the way I should say it. So now I'm loving that. And so I'm just kind of adding things as I go. But something that I learned in church ministry is, number one, and if church isn't your thing, guys, no worries. I promise you're going to get stuff out of this. But one thing that I learned is that in order to really build people's trust, you have to invest before you invite. So like, I was the director of connections of small groups and different serving opportunities. And before I could just see if people wanted to be a part of those things, I had to invest in them. I had to build a relationship with them. I had to get to know them. I had to understand what they were passionate about and their hobbies to see where they would fit best. And it really connects with coaching in so many ways. So I'm going to go ahead and screen share with you guys. Let's see. I'm going to pull this down. Raina's page. This is so not what I was going to show you guys, although it's always fun to see Raina's page. Okay, so I thought my slides were up on here. I've got a funky computer, so it's being really weird, so I'm going to run this through Facebook Messenger, and it's gonna work just great, I decided. Okay, so you guys can all see this? Yes? You can see my screen? Okay? Okay, cool. So when it comes to investing, I think it's like so important, and some of this is gonna sound a little elementary and some of it is gonna dive in deeper, okay? So bear with me if you're a seasoned coach, and if you're a brand new coach, I hope that this really, really helps you as well. But you know, with investing, as you know, something that I've learned is that in order to gain trust and to really invest in other people, you also have to be pretty vulnerable and open yourself. And you have to be okay with just really sharing who you are. Because if you're not doing that, how can you expect other people to do that in return, right? And so this is just a glimpse of who I am. This is my 56-pound weight loss. And I look at this and I'm like, oh my gosh, never again. But it just really shows just my personality. I'm super silly. And, you know, every day I do 3 posts a day that have to do with 3 things. One is health, one is heart, and one is hope. And heart is my family and hope is my faith. And so I really like to alternate those just because I think people see a really well-rounded version of who I am and truly who I am, because guys, I'm not just like a fitness coach, right? Like I love being a health and fitness coach, but there's so much more to just Pesola than health and wellness. There is this mom, and there's this faith side of me that loves to share that. And so, and I have a unique family. I have an interracial family. My mom passed away from cancer a few years ago. And so I just have like all of this like bottled up passion and drive that goes so much deeper. And so I like to just like lead with health, hope, and heart every single day. So that's kind of where this comes in investing, right? But something that I do, I'm going to share with you guys my inviting formula, and then I'm going to dive in deeper, okay? So my inviting formula that my team does every day within their power hour is 532. And I really call it like 5532 because we add 5 friends a day. We're not just like spamming people. We like really look at like, you know, suggested friends and different stuff like that, but we dive in deep. But we do 5 new conversations a day, nothing about Beachbody. I have a formula that I'm going to show you in a second called comment plus compliment plus question equals conversation. And so it really takes the guesswork out when you can just look at that formula and go to comment, compliment, question, conversation. Always end with a question, because 9 times out of 10 you're going to much easier get a reply back than if you're just like, hey, cool, good to see you, bye, right? So but really investing in who they are. You know, I love to get to know people's when I'm talking to them, I love to get to know their kids' names. I always look at their pages before I even contact them. You know, if they're an old high school friend, guys, I went to a high school where I graduated with like 3,000 people. Okay, that's an exaggeration. I think I graduated with like 1,000 to 2,000, but still, it was big, right? And so I have like high school friends where I go to their like pages, and then I go to their high school friends, because Facebook is awesome and kind of categorizes it like that for us. And then I will look through their friends that I went to high school with that I am not friends with, and I will look for my target market. So if I see somebody that has a kid in their picture with them, or just looks like somebody fun that I would love to get to know, I mainly do this with females because that's more of my target. You know, and I'm not friends with them, I'll add them, and then I'll send them a message about, you know, oh my gosh, girl, it's been a long time. You know, I use their name. Hey, Raina, it's been a long time since high school. That's my comment. Your daughter is so gorgeous. She looks like she is entering the 3s or, you know, toddler years. Oh my gosh, we are just getting over the potty training hump a little bit, but we're still working on it. Have you started yet? Do you have any tips at all? Like just investing in them as a person, showing them that you actually went to their page, that you know, if you know their kid's name, say it, don't be creepy, but you know what I'm saying? Like something along those lines of really investing in who they are. And then the 3 stands for a challenge group invite. So 5 new conversations a day, 3 challenge group invites. I go back to people that I've already 5'd And then the 2 stands for checking in with 2 personally sponsored coaches, or I actually love to use this as inviting 2 people to be a business coach on my team. And I do that mainly with my challengers, and I'm going to talk about how I form them by investing more in them and then inviting them to be a coach on my team. So, so that is the inviting system. And I'm not really seeing the chat right now, but if you guys have any questions, we can go through them at the end for sure. But so this is that formula that I was talking about, and just some examples for you guys of that comment plus compliment plus question equals conversation. And I will totally make sure Raina gets all my slides if you guys want them. But what I love about this is just giving, actual examples of, how to connect, that kind of thing. And I already gave you some practical examples, so we don't need to dwell too much on that. But I'm going backwards. Okay, no, you guys don't need to see that. What is happening? I'm going backwards. Okay, sorry guys. First time on Zoom, just kidding. Okay, here we go. This is gonna help us. Okay, so then I actually incorporated some slides from leadership because they were so dang good. Raina, did you already show these to your team at all? Because I don't want to overlap. Okay, cool. I just didn't want to go through stuff you guys have already gone through. But I love this. Miguel, these are all the slides that I'm going to share. The next 4 slides I'm going to share are from Miguel. And I absolutely love this because he breaks it down so well, and he does a lot of what I do, and yet I don't think I was teaching it to my team as in-depthly as I should have been. It was something that I thought was kind of a given with how you connect with people, and it really showed me as I was sitting there watching this at leadership, I need to explain that better, So, work smarter, not harder. These are amazing. So I'm going to kind of go through them, but tell your story, listen. So that's the overall theme of this. But as you're talking to somebody about, even just reconnecting with them and then eventually telling them that you are a health and fitness coach and that you would absolutely love to have them be a part of this next challenge with you or whatnot, listen to them and they will tell you what you want or what they want. So listen to what their needs are and then paint the picture of how their life is and how it could be. Minimize objections by providing details within the story. So if somebody tells me that they have huge cholesterol issues and different stuff, and I actually have a live example I'm going to share with you guys in a second, I will actually talk about how I will focus more on the part of my story where Shakeology decreased my cholesterol and helped it go down. I will share that maybe more than I would if I was just sharing my story with how it works for me, about my weight loss. I'm going to focus more on those health benefits overall. So it's just kind of minimizing the objections. I also like to tell people up front when I'm sharing my story about how as a customer, Caleb and I actually saved money using Shakeology. As crazy as it sounds, we actually saved money by using it as a meal replacement, and how that really helped us even financially when we went through our budget. So sometimes people look at that overall cost and it just scares them, right? But when you share within your story and that it was so cool, we actually ended up saving money. We were teaching Financial Peace University, Dave Ramsey's course at our church at the time, and we knew that we could not add something else while we were paying off our debt. And then I'll add that into my story. And so it really, I think, helps. But also just listening, pausing. This is all about investing and building trust. So pausing every 20 to 30 seconds, allowing them to ask questions. Now, here's the deal, guys. Something that I've been doing more and more and more and more of is talking to people on the phone. Now, we do not always have that opportunity. And I know a lot with my cold market, some of them don't want to get on the phone with me. It makes them feel weird, and that's fine. I always give people the option. But the more I get on the phone with people, the more successful it seems to be overall with me helping them as a coach, really learning more about them and investing in them and really understanding what they need out of this, right? And so when you are on the phone with them, pausing and having them ask questions. And I just did this with a girl from my like page. I just did this with her the other day, and she actually told me in a message later, my friend really wanted me to sign up with her friend as a coach, but you got on the phone with me and you really cared. And I really, I know that it would be convenient to be in the same group as her, but I really want to go with you as a coach. And that spoke volumes to me about how giving them the best attention and really hearing them and listening to them is so important. So inserting questions within your story, talk about Shakeology and how it benefited you, what your favorite flavor is, talk about your favorite workout program, the challenge group experience, and the support from your coach. I even did this in a live video today when I was talking about Core to Force. I was talking about how anybody can do a workout program. But when you have the accountability and the support and somebody who is dedicated to praying for you, to working with you when your husband brings home pizza for dinner, and being able to talk through it and having the group to connect with, how amazing that is and how different it makes it. I know for me, that was the game changer. Like, I think I tried like every horrible crash diet there is out there before that, right? And this is what worked because it's a lifestyle change. And explain the process you followed to get started, explain the cost, explain what happens once they press order within your story, what's all going to go down. I send everybody an email right away that talks through everything that they can expect and that kind of thing. Tell them how your life changed and how great you feel now. So there's just some really fun guidelines that can really help you as you're really talking with them and building that trust. Provide the solution. I'm sorry, this one is a little blurry, but I think it's so important. I think I said this earlier, but always, always, always end with a question. Just providing the solution. I think I have a couple programs that would work well for you. Can I show you a video of them right now? Would you watch them? I do this when I'm talking with people in my challenge groups about coaching too. I have just a couple different videos of me that I send them where I'm talking about different ways that this could really benefit them and how I think it would work well for them. I always try to do it in voice memo or a video of some kind. Voice memo, by the way, guys, I don't know if you use that, but it is so awesome. It takes me 30 seconds or, okay, that's even long. It takes me 10, 15 seconds to just quick send a voice memo versus typing everything. And I don't know how safe this is, but I can do it in the car. It's really nice to be able to have those options. And then they get to hear your energy and your voice and your passion, and that's really good too. So make sure to provide a solution and then to turn their wish into their goal. So you mentioned earlier that you wanted to lose 20 pounds over the next few months. Is there a reason? What's happening the next few months? Find out. Maybe they're going to be a bridesmaid in a wedding, or maybe they just want to make sure that they don't gain 10 to 15 pounds like they did last year. And remember, you guys, during this season, I probably work 10 times harder during this season to get the same results that I produce in the spring, okay? But I know that every seed planted is a success, because in January, when the girl is sitting in the dressing room and the pants don't fit that used to fit and they don't fit anymore because you gained 10, 15 pounds, they're gonna think of you. They're going to think of you. They're going to think about the person that reached out to them, that cares, that is being consistent on social media, because that is so important. That validates your business, right? So they're going to look at the person who shows up in their newsfeed and who has reached out to them personally and shown that they care. So remember that, and don't ever let Satan make you feel defeated when you've really succeeded. So when you are giving your all and you are messaging people and you are caring about them the right way, and then you're not seeing massive points on the board, but you hit Success Club, hello, that's a huge success. Feel good about that. Okay, I had to have a talk with some of my leaders that were getting really, really down about that recently, and I just said to them, you guys, you are succeeding, and you need to remember that, you're changing lives, you're doing everything you can. So just remember to stay positive and to know that it all comes back. It all comes back. It's just a matter of time. Don't take a break during the season. It's not worth it. Okay. So a little response formula for objections, because guys, we all get them. And to be honest, it's probably just smart for our people to like bring objections to the table. And this method is age old. And I don't know if you've heard it before, but I always do feel felt found. Always. If somebody says like, girl, I'm a mom, like I don't have time to do those workouts, I'm going to say, oh my gosh, like Raina, I know exactly how you feel. Trust me. I felt the exact same way. I had a 1-year-old like climbing all over me, and I was tired all the time because I gained all this weight. So I had no energy. I definitely did not want to work out. But what I found is that, so I felt the same way. What I found is that Beachbody actually offers like 22-minute to 30-minute workouts that are incredible. You can do them right in your living room. You can just wake up, don't even think about it, press play, and before you know it, it's over and you can get results. Because what I do know is that I was not happy being 50 pounds overweight. So, and then I'll even go as far as to say like, you told me you want to lose 20 pounds. If you could do a 22-minute workout a day, and that over a couple months you could lose those 20 pounds, would it be worth it? Just really like getting to the center of that objection is so important. And the same with money, I kind of already told you about. I know what you mean. I know how you feel. I felt the same way. Trust me, we were doing Dave Ramsey. I didn't think there was any way we would be able to afford Shakeology. But what I found is that Shakeology is actually not only my vitamins, which cuts out the cost of all those supplements, but it's not only my vitamins, but it's a meal replacement. And so knowing that, like, I'm going to get real with you and tell you, don't shoot me, but if I ever take Isaiah to McDonald's, if I ever do, it is $5 for a Happy Meal, but it's like $3 to $4 for a superfood shake that's going to give him all of those vitamins and help him. And, first of all, it's cheaper and it's better, So what I learned is that this is a much better solution. Now knowing that, does that help at all? Do you have any other questions? And just really relating to them. And like I said, it's really nice to do that over a voice memo so they can really hear you and hear your compassion. Because you're not just getting defensive. That's not the goal. The goal is to relate to them and to tell them, I totally get it. This is what I know works. So same thing, responding to coaching objections, and I don't have to sit on this too long, but I just let people know, when they say they don't have any time to do this, what I found is that when I worked 50 hours a week full time, I could only dedicate an hour to this a day. And now what I teach my team is live power hours. We do it together. I teach them formulas to make sure that they get everything in an hour, besides their workout, that can really, really work for them and really, really work to succeed in this business. I can't promise you anything, but I know that I had no idea that I was only going to have to give an hour a day. And then the minute I could give more, I did. But that power hour was dedicated and I gave it my all. And if you can do that, you can make this work. Do you have any questions about that? You know what I mean? Just kind of going back into that. So it's so important to be able to connect and teach them. Okay, so now I want to go into more like forming and how I invite people to be a coach on my team that are already challengers. And basically, I have a little bit of a process where I always invite them and they always say no first, right? And that's just like a check off my list. Like, oh, good, got the first no out the way. Awesome. Because I know that almost every single one of my coaches has told me no at least once. I think I have 17 diamonds in my first business center and 12 of them said no to me twice. And my top coach told me no twice and told me I was part of a pyramid scheme before she committed. So remember that people will do that. And so that's when the fun gets to come in, because then you get to highlight them. And honestly, this is an actual challenger spotlight that I did for Sam, and she became a coach on my team. I've done this for a lot of my coaches where I just highlight them, and then I talk about, yes, she lost 8 pounds in 1 week, but I also talk about the fact that she's a mom, that she was working hard, there was lack of sleep, crazy hours, but she dedicated, she decided to make her health a priority. And so I'm relating to her audience even as I'm saying that. And this has actually helped a couple of my coaches not only become coaches, but start their business, just because they'll get all these comments of like, oh my gosh, that's amazing. What are you doing? I want to do it too, or just different stuff. And before you know it, they're like, maybe I should do this coach thing because I have 4 people that want to sign up, And so it's really positive, and it can be an amazing thing for that coach and for your team. So that's a fun way that I do it. Here's another example. I'm sorry if it's a little hard for you guys to read. Again, I'll give it to Raina, but and Bethany said I could use this. She's actually a coach on my team as well now. But I love to run free groups, and I run 4 free groups a year, and I make them a little bit longer so I can spend more time just investing in who they are and really getting to know them. And I did a free group this spring where it was a 21-day free group, but I was able to sign 10 new coaches from it. So it was absolutely, and they were all cold market. So it was really, and business coaches. So it was really beneficial. But I started out because I look for people with the gift of encouragement. So this is Bethany, and she wrote this in the page, and she's just like, oh my gosh, this group is such an inspiration. And she's just excited. And I'm like, whoa, she has coach written all over her, right? So this is a little bit of a cookie cutter example, and I'll give you another one that's not. But she basically is just saying, like, you know, do you guys, I mean, my target market is like, you know, Christian moms and that kind of thing. And she's just like, how can I pray for you? How can I help you guys? I just want to lift you up. I mean, she was like on fire. So I messaged her and I'm like, oh my gosh, Bethany, I love your heart. You're exactly the kind of heart of somebody that I would love to coach on my team. Would you ever consider coaching at all after this 21-day group is over? No worries either way, but we have such a strong Christian team and you seem like a great leader. What I didn't do there that I should have done was ask a question at the end. But she comes back and she says, yes, it's a huge calling on my heart. Okay, again, cookie cutter. I get that not everything is like this. But she's excited and everything. And I'm just like, but she also says, I just want to look the part which, you know, of a personal trainer, because that was her goal. She wants to be a personal trainer. I first need to submit myself to a leader before I become a leader, that kind of thing. And so I just basically talked to her about how I would love for her to actually help me coach this group. And then what I do is I actually send her a template, you know, where she can copy and paste, but also make it her own. And she gets excited. And then I introduce her to the group as a 21-day challenge coach, like just like I would in my team page of like new coach or whatever. I do it in my free group, like 21-day new coach Bethany, and give her different assigned days to coach. And so by the end of the 21-day group, she's already started coaching. Like she might not have a challenge pack yet, but she's already coaching, and then she's got nothing to lose, right? So that's a one way that I form. Another example of this that isn't so cookie cutter is another girl on my team that she was my last diamond to go diamond to hit 15 star, and she came from this free group. And I basically was talking to her, and I sent the same message I sent to Bethany, and she just said, I'm considering it, however, I would need to do slowly. I hate to play the single mom card, but I'm trying to balance parenting. And she goes through all of that. And I already know that there's like, she's interested, but there's kind of like a stop sign there, right? So I'm not going to be like, come on, you got to do this, right? So I just say, no worries. Would you want to help me coach this 14-day free group? I had 2 groups going on at the same time. One was a 14-day, one was a 21-day. So if that's confusing, just bear with me. But I basically do the same thing with her. And she's like, I think I'd be okay with that. I think I just need to listen to my gut and make that leap, you know? And so I kind of go through the different stuff, and then she talks to me more seriously about different stuff. And the conversation goes on and on and on that I'm not going to share because it's too in depth. But it's really powerful because she really starts to open up to me about just all kinds of life things that she's going through. And we start to connect on a deeper level. And by the end of this free group, not only are we connected, you know, from knowing that she can do this coach thing because she's already helping me coach, but we are at a deeper level where she trusts me, and she trusts me so that we can build this together. And she's excited and knows that she's in good hands. Sorry if you can hear my dishwasher, by the way. Okay, so here's another one. This is from a free crockpot group that I just did. And I basically just said, like, you know, I have this ongoing group now where I just add people to it. And I just said, Dawn, hey girl, I don't know if you saw the 21-day free group because I do it every once a quarter. You know, fit challenge, she's already in the group. So I tell her that. And then I just say, I'd love for you to be a part of it. We're starting preseason and going in full force Monday. Does that sound fun to you? And she goes on and on and on, like totally opens up to me about like how she was a gym rat, and then she fell off the wagon and like all this stuff, okay? And so I think it's really important as you're connecting with people to match their energy. So when somebody just writes me like yep, that sounds fun, thanks, I'll check it out. I'm still gonna write them back, but I'm gonna like maybe not write them a novel because I can tell that they kind of have a little bit of a distance there. And so it's gonna take me a little bit to kind of get to know them, and I'm gonna still ask them about their health and fitness goals for the current time, short term, long term. I'm still gonna do that, but I'm gonna do it in like a much shorter way. But because she messaged me all of this stuff, I was able to write back to her and just totally open up to her about different stuff I went through last season with deaths in the family and sickness and different stuff, gaining weight as a coach, struggling with a binge eating disorder. I open up to her because she opened up to me. I'm going to match that energy and that trust. And now she opens up to me even more. And she talks about her binge eating, and it kind of goes on. And now it's, it seems like, one second, I think I missed something. Well, in there, it doesn't matter. I can just tell you. I ask her in my long one, I'm like, I do have a more in-depth support system and challenge group that I do with all the tools that helped me lose my 56 pounds and have really helped me with really understanding a lifestyle change. Is that something that you'd be interested in? So she goes on and on and on, and then she says, I don't know, I want to do something, but I'm scared I will waste my money on something again. Now, you guys can't see this, but then it's just my style then is to go in with a voice memo. And I do the feel, felt, found in the voice memo, and I also let her know that the biggest thing for me was the accountability, right, that we talked about earlier, the support. And so she says, you're right, accountability absolutely helps. I'm interested. How does this work? And then I kind of go through offering her the different options and the tools, and, we have a little bit more of a structured conversation about what it all entails, getting her signed up, and I talk about my favorite flavors and that kind of thing. And I would have loved to get on the phone with her, but it just didn't happen. But she joined, and she's doing great. So that's really awesome. So it's just about, I think, understanding really how to connect with people on more of that personal level. And sometimes, I think as coaches, I wanted to share this slide with you because I think as coaches, and I'm almost done here, I'm just about to wrap up, but I think we kind of go through this growth zone and then a caution zone, and we forget our passion about helping people and building those relationships. And I know for me, I think it's just smart to understand the business and to be a good steward of your finances and to understand what that looks like, because my family is my number one ministry, right? But I also don't love that aspect of this business. I really love the connecting with people. And so when I start to get away from that connection and I start to just think about I just got to do this, blah, and, instead of thinking about what I get to do versus thinking I just have to do this, it takes all the fun out. And then I'm like, why am I a coach? I don't really like to do this. Oh crap, I'm stuck. This is our main source of income, and now I'm, stuck or something. And so I love this chart that they shared at Leadership because I could really connect with it. And I know it's a little hard to see, but it basically in the growth zone, it says you're a new coach, you got the 4 vital behaviors down, you're positive and excited, you have initial growth here, and sometimes it takes a little time. Don't get down on yourselves if you guys are new coaches. It takes time, okay? I flew out of the gate, but remember the market that I had, and some people do that and some people don't. My top coach, it took her 2 months to become Emerald, okay? And it took her a lot longer than me to become Diamond, but she is making an amazing income. She's making 6 figures a year. She's doing incredible, okay? So remember that faster doesn't necessarily mean better. So if it takes some time here, be okay with that. And the best thing you can do in this business is give yourself at least 4 seasons. Give yourself 4 seasons to see it in all different seasons and to give your best. And then you'll experience at some point this initial growth. Results start to exceed expectations. You're an emerging leader. You celebrate success. And then to continue growth, you remain engaged and you keep growing. But sometimes it happens where you get to this point and you're like, woohoo, I've arrived, right? And all of a sudden, you embrace your success. Maybe you become a Diamond coach and you're like, oh, okay, I made it. I'm good. No, right? You start to embrace the success instead of realizing that really you want to get to 2-star. And then you want to get to 5-star and so on and grow this business for the long haul. But sometimes we just embrace that success. We start to lose focus. We get into management mode. The vital behaviors start to lose vitality. The attitude changes. And then all of a sudden there's a moment of truth and people start to walk away because they lost their excitement for really what they were doing in this business and why they even started. And that was something that they love to do, which is share their results and to help people, right? And when we start to lose that focus, all of a sudden, like, you get to a point where you're like, this is too much for me. I don't like management mode. But really, you never had to get to management mode. Like, why did you ever get there? And it's because you started to embrace that success and kind of get down and go into the caution zone. And so I just really want to encourage you guys, especially in the season where you feel like you're working really hard and maybe not seeing quite as a spark in your business. Just remember that it's a season. It's not forever. It's a season, and celebrate every little small success, because all the little ones add up to big ones, and it's exciting. And be excited about every step and just keep climbing that ladder. I know that there are absolutely points in my business where I started to embrace success. I know the day I hit 15-star official, I found out I was 6 weeks pregnant. So that entire time that I was qualifying, I was pregnant and they didn't know it. And then it was almost like right afterwards, I like hit this, oh crap, it's the first trimester and I'm super sick. And I felt, I'm going to be honest with you, there was a part of me that felt like I did my job. I hit Superstar Diamond. I can be sick. I didn't really ever take a break. I've never taken a break in this business. To be honest, I don't have that luxury. This is my full-time job. My family's number one income. But I definitely slowed the train down. And, sometimes it's good to have, it wasn't like a balance thing though. It's good to have balance. I will never tell my coaches not to put God first and their family first before Beachbody. But it was like God, family, big gap, Beachbody, right? And I started to see those results. And so I just want to encourage you guys to not let yourself get complacent, not to go into management mode, and to really fight for the lives that you are supposed to change. Because if you're not sharing with them, think about who could be missing out. It's not something that we have to do. It's something that we get to do by sharing this opportunity, because it's our responsibility. We know that this works. It's so unfair for us to hold it into our own little bubble and be like, woohoo, well, I look great, awesome. No, we have to share it, right? And so when you think about it like that, it just totally can change your mindset. I want to share with you guys just a little closing story. And I do want to pull up this slide because I think it's awesome. If you're thinking is stinking, then your team is shrinking. Okay. So I know that the minute I started to let my mind kind of go into management mode and kind of get into that sinking ship a little bit, my thinking started to get into panic mode. It started to get well, maybe I'm not good at this. The enemy started to get into my head of you're not really a good coach. You really shouldn't even be a 15-star diamond, all this stupid stuff that he's going to do because he sucks. And I remember just starting to feel like I was not good enough and all of those things. Guys, that is a battle that I don't know about you, but I experience all the time. And I just have to remind myself and remember that I'm called to this. And if he called me to it, he's going to see me through it, and I'm going to be able to help more people. And that's what it's all about. It's not about necessarily, although these are great goals, it's not necessarily about, being elite or being all of this. It's really about when you hit those goals, looking back at what good came out of those goals. You know what I'm saying? So just for those of you guys that are experiencing goals that you might be setting for the end of the year, I want to encourage you by telling you just a closing story. And that is when I was going for 15-star diamond, there was a deadline to be able to be acknowledged at Summit. And I thought it was a really cool deadline for our team, because how powerful would it be to be able to go with my team and to be able to be a superstar team at Summit, right? And they were pumped, they were excited. And the week that we were supposed to go 15-star, I suddenly got the stomach flu, like worse than I've ever had it before, worse than pregnancy. I had C. diff last winter. And if you don't know what that is, you don't want to know. But it's a colon infection. It was horrible. And this was worse. Like, it was horrible. And I just felt like there was nothing I could do. And some of the people on my team that needed that extra oomph I couldn't provide it. I couldn't give it to them. I couldn't help them. All I could focus on was puking. And it was awful. And we didn't hit 15 star. And then I just was devastated. I mean, it didn't define me, but I was pretty discouraged. I won't say I was defeated, but I was discouraged. And that next day I wanted to like shut off my computer and shut down. I didn't want to talk to anybody. I didn't want to look anybody in the face. I just wanted to like cry and be upset and not talk to anybody. And instead I woke up and I did some personal development. And before I even got out of bed to pee, I like read my devotional, and it was extremely encouraging. And the verse that really stood out for me that has become like my life verse this season is, my grace is sufficient for you. My power is made perfect in your weakness. And I remember thinking like, yeah, like this really isn't, I don't have to do this. Like if it's supposed to happen, it's going to happen. I'm going to work really freaking hard. But if it's supposed to happen, it's going to happen because his power is made perfect in my weakness. And if I can just depend on that and focus on that, then I don't have to take this weight on my shoulders and feel like it all depends on me and my team. God is bigger than that. And so I remember just going into my team page and being like, guys, I don't care if the deadline was this week. Like, we're going to be a 15-star team this week. How many of you guys are so excited to be a superstar team? We are going to do this. It's going to be amazing. And they were pumped. And then it became Monday, and I realized that I had the most inactive coaches that I have ever had. Like, I don't know what happened, but there was like red, like all down my downline. And I was like, this isn't going to happen. Like, there was just a part of my brain that was like, I know I said it, but I know, God, you're like perfect in my weakness, but like I'm a little too weak to be able to add 12 coaches, like 12 new coaches in like 2 days. And I was like praying about it. Like, okay, God, like if you want me to do this, like it's in your hands, because like I know that I don't think I can physically do that. And all of a sudden I got a call from my corporate mentor, and I'm just going to be honest with you. Arnaud like never really called me. Like, we did Zooms every other week, but he called me, and I'm sitting in my car and I just prayed, and he's like, Pesola. And I'm like, hey, what's up? And he was just like, I just feel like I'm supposed to tell you something. I don't know if it's like the man upstairs or what, but I feel like whatever you're going for, because he honestly didn't know. We hadn't talked for like a month. And he was like, whatever you're going for, I feel like I'm supposed to tell you, like, you need to go for it. And I was like, Arnaud, like, I got chills because I was just praying about that. And then you called, but like, seriously, I have to add 12 coaches in 2 days. And he just literally goes, do it. Like, do it. And I was like, okay, like, okay, it's go time. And God willing, in 2 days, 12 coaches added. I had 31 coaches in my first business center, total. And we did it, and we went 15-star qual. And then 6 weeks later, we became a superstar team, and they made an exception at Summit and let us be recognized anyway, even though we were a week late. And it was just so powerful for me to remember that this really is not about me. Like, I knew that there was nothing about me that made that happen. Like, I mean, yes, I worked really hard, like harder than I ever have in 2 days in my life, right? I don't think I slept. But at the same time, I knew that like those people didn't just pop out of the woodwork. Like, people that I'd been talking to for months came around, and it was pretty powerful. So I say that to you to encourage you, if you feel like you're in management mode, or you feel like you just are at a point where, you know, you don't know what your next step is. You know, if you're the praying kind, the best business decision I ever made was to pray over my business and give it to him, surrender it, and know that you were called to this. So you have a job to do, and you do the absolute best that you can, and then let him take it from there. So that's what I got for you guys tonight. I'm going to go ahead and stop screen sharing, and I'd love to answer any questions you guys have. If you have any questions at all, feel free to ask. If not, that's
Yeah, I'm going to can you hear me?
Yeah.
I've got my face on like 2 different computers. I've had like technical difficulties.
Oh no.
I love it. Okay. That was amazing, first of all. And I love that you broke down your conversations. And I love that you walked people through that. I think that that's where most coaches struggle, is they overthink every single conversation that they have. And I feel like you really simplified it. And I appreciate you sharing that very much. Anybody have questions? Unmute yourself or put it in the chat if you have questions. We'll do a couple questions if you guys have them. Anybody? Should I call names?
No. So my team, we always do this too.
It's like every team call, nobody wants to ask questions. And I'm like, you guys have like the greatest minds on your call. Yeah. And then afterwards you get messages like, will you ask her? No.
Can I ask a question?
Of course.
Hi, Jessica. I have been following you for a while now, and I just love you. I am also kind of in a church leadership position, and I feel like I have a question for you in that regard. I sometimes feel like I just get some judgment, just struggle with people in the church being not always the most supportive of what I do. But I'm all in. I've been here for 2.5 years. I'm not going anywhere. But I just wonder like how you handled that, because I'm sure you dealt with it too.
Yeah, I think number one, when people don't understand something, there's always going to be some and now I'm in pregnancy, and I'm going to be honest with you guys, and check with your doctors. I feel like I always need to say that, but I drink Energize every day. My doctor approved it. It's 200 milligrams of caffeine for 1 scoop, and that's the max you can have when you're pregnant. So I get messages daily of people being like, and not obviously not coaches, but people being like, you really shouldn't be working out that hard, and you're doing your child a disservice, and all of that kind of stuff along the same lines. And honestly, I always, Christy, I will say I had a very, very, very supportive base at church, which I know is rare. I had a very supportive base of people that were excited for me because they did see my weight loss and they wanted to be a part of it. So I even had staff members that on staff with me that wanted to be a part of it, which was cool. But there's always going to be people that don't quite get it. And what I do is I always kill them with kindness. I just write back like, oh my gosh, thank you so much for your concern. I really, really, really appreciate it. I'm doing everything that I feel, I'm, totally okay with, and I've prayed over it, and I've talked with medical physicians about it. My dad is actually a medical doctor, and he's approved everything for me as well. And so I feel really good about what I'm doing, but I really do appreciate your concern. I know you have a great heart. Thanks. Have a good day. Shut it down. You know what I mean? But in a loving way. Okay. And so I do think that we're called to show love. I think we're called to be kind, and it's really hard when other people aren't. And when it comes to this, I will say, because I am friends with so many pastors and different people, I have been careful with my personal page. I've actually never shared, I think the only somewhat stomach picture I've even shared, and by the way, I'm so not judging. I wish I could share more on my personal page, but I just know my audience, you know what I mean? But the only stomach picture I've ever shown is actually from above, where it was my 22-week baby belly a little bit, and it was mainly of Isaiah, and it just showed my stomach a tiny bit. So I share all my before and afters on my page, and I'll tease people on my personal page by blocking it out and seeing see results at Pesola Jessica or / Pesola Jessica, and that to drive people to my page anyway. So you can use that as ammunition, but people will say that you're vain or different stuff. And you know what, girl, we know the truth. It's not vain to work on your health and fitness and to help other people. That's just a load of crap. And so love them where they're at, and then bless and release. If they're hating on you, that's really much more their issue and their heart issue. And you just got to love them where they're at and treat them with kindness and move on. Don't let it eat at you, okay? Because that's not fun. Don't let it eat at you. That's not fair to you, because you're doing what God has called you to do. But also remember all the examples in the Bible of people that do what they're called to do and are ridiculed for it. And you're not alone. You have a lot of great leaders and examples from before you that have been through it all the way back to the Bible days. Okay? Mwah.
Someone said, what did you mean by management mode?
Yeah. Okay. So what I mean by management mode is I got into this after, or maybe even during my 15-star push of just like managing all my current coaches versus recruiting and spending time working with newer coaches and adding newer coaches. And something that you always want to be doing for your business is growing. And so it was one of those things where I started to get into management mode. And then when people quit, you're like, what? When truthfully, like there's just going to be some people that do start this and even find some success. And then somewhere down the road, they start to feel called a different direction. It's not necessarily anything you did as a coach. It's just something that might happen. If you are continuing to add new people to your team, that is not going to necessarily affect even just the business side of your business, like volume and all of that, right? But sometimes we get into management mode and we don't think about extending this opportunity to more people. We just think about kind of, working with everybody that you have. It is so important for you to be there for your coaches, to do one-on-ones. Once you have a really big organization, doing Zooms with your team, all this kind of stuff of like even one-on-ones with your PS coaches on Zoom, if that's what you can do, right? But you don't want to get to the point where that's all you do. You want to be still recruiting a lot of your time too, because you have so many more people to share this opportunity with. Does that make sense?
A good answer.
Okay, good.
One more question. Is that okay?
Yeah,
Okay.
totally.
Jody's asking, what is your top way to find your cold market and how did you form them, not sounding stalkerish? You kind of covered that a little bit, but I'll let you expand if you want to.
So my thus far now, like I said, I'm expanding now more into other avenues other than Facebook. But the number one way to build, I have 3 different sections of my market. I have my hot market, which is like super close relatives, family, best friends, all of that. Okay. And then I have my warm market, which I believe is like my personal page market, as I call it. And then I have like my like page market, which is more my cold market. And the way that I really reach them is I think it's really important to grow, because I was wasting a lot of money. I'm just going to be honest with you guys. I was boosting stuff and I didn't really understand ad sets and all of that kind of stuff. And if that sounds completely foreign to you, that's okay. I totally get it. But I did a training and I learned. And I did Jesse Reagan's training. It was amazing. And I learned how to target my market and how to find my market, because sometimes we're targeting the wrong people. And so I really learned how to find that. And that's how I was able to open up to a cold market. And then once people responded to my ads or even liked my page, in a couple months, I went from having like 1,000 people on my like page to 27,000. So it was just like, whoa, like I found my market, you know what I mean? And then once people liked my page or responded to an ad, it was a lot easier to like go to their page and just see, about their life and then connect with them. And even during the Core to Force launch, I've had some different ads out there for that. And when people like respond with their email address, I will still go to their page and I'll say, hey, Raina, I saw you have a daughter and oh, she's so beautiful. Or I saw you had a fur baby. Like, oh my gosh, I love my dog. He's so part of our family. We have a golden doodle. By the way, thank you for responding to my ad or not even ad, because that sounds salesy, but thank you for responding to my test launch. I'm trying not to call it a test group because of that whole thing. But, responding to my launch group for Core to Force and go into the, details of it. But I think it's so important, even if they are cold market and they respond to something about you, instead of like, you don't want to make it too lengthy, because they might really just want to know. Like one time I really just wanted skincare from a Ronan and Fields girl, and all she did was like drag it on, and I was like, okay, I'm done. Like I don't even care anymore, And so you have to be smart about it, but also be able to connect. So yeah, just nail all that. You'll be good.
That's it.
Jesse Reagan. I'll put it in there. Jesse Reagan's training. He has like a social media team building training that was really, really good for me. And other people have different things too. It's not the only answer, but that's what worked well for me. So, yeah.
Anybody else? Last call before I let her go. Thanks for taking time away from your family tonight to do this for us. I appreciate it. Oh, there's mine.
Yay! Hi, honey.
So dramatic.
Yeah. Well, thanks, you guys.
Thank you. I have this recorded, so I'll send it to you, and you can share it with your team if you'd like to. And then if you want to send over the slides, I know I've had a couple people ask.
Yeah.
Awesome. So I appreciate it.
You got it, girl. All right, you guys. Well, thank you for having me, and have a great night.
You too, girl. Thanks.
All right, talk to you guys later. Okay, bye.